Imagine you're designing a storage box for your secret clothes. You need to figure out how much space it'll take up or if it'll fit in the diagonal corner. What about how many things you can put in the box before it's full? What math would we need to solve that? There are 3 different formulas we can use to answer all of our questions and make the perfect box. Area, volume, and the Pythagorean theorem. Area is the amount of space on a flat surface, and the formula we use for area is length times width. Think of it as we're trying to cover this whole floor with tiles. For example, we make a rectangle and the length is 6 inches and the width is 4 inches. You would take the length and width and you would multiply them, so it would be 6 times 4. That would equal 24, which would end up being your area, which is 24. Imagine you have a sandwich and you want to cut it in half. Your typical person will cut it straight down the middle, but we want to be different and we're going to cut it diagonally. We want to find how long this line is, and we already know the length and the width of the sandwich. How can we do that? The Pythagorean theorem will help us find the length of the cut. We can only use this theorem for right triangles. The fun fact about the Pythagorean theorem is you will always know 1 degree, and it has to be 90 degrees. We also have names for our lines. This is the hypotenuse, and these are the legs. The hypotenuse is always the longest line opposite of the 90-degree angle. The formula for the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a and b are the 2 legs, and c is the hypotenuse. Remember the area of our rectangle from the previous question was 24. We're going to cut it in half diagonally, and we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out how long the cut is. Since these are the legs, this would be a squared and b squared. So 6 squared equals 36. 4 squared equals 16. So 36 plus 16 equals 52. So 52 is equal to c squared. So in order to find c, we're going to have to get the square root of 52, which would be equal to 7.2. So the cut would be 7.2 inches long. Now that we figured out how much space our box will take up, now we need to figure out how much we can fit in the box. This is called volume. Volume is the amount of space inside of a 3D object. Volume is very similar to area, we just include the height, which would make our formula length times width times height. From the rectangle from our previous question, we have a width of 4, we have a length of 6, and we make a height of 5. And if we do length times width times height, we would do 6 times 4 times 5, which would equal 120. Let's solve one together. We're going to do a different box with a length of 5, a width of 3, and a height of 4. We're going to answer our first question. What is the area? So we have our rectangle that is a length of 5 and a width of 3. To find area is always length times width, so that would be 5 times 3. That would equal 15. So the area would be 15. Now we're going to cut our rectangle in half, and we're going to answer the second question. What is the length of a diagonal line? And to do that, the formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we would take 5 squared equals 25. 3 squared equals 9. And then we have 25 plus 9, which equals 34. But remember, this is c squared, so we have to find the square root of 34, which would equal 5.8. So the length of the diagonal line would be 5.8 inches. And now for the final question. What is the volume? Our formula for volume is length times width times height. So we would have to do the length of 5, make this a cube, and the height would be 4. So we would do length of 5 times the width of 3 times the height of 4, which would equal 60. So 60 would be our volume. Now a quick check for our understanding. Question 1. Area covers a surface, true or false? That would be true. And then question 2 is which formula uses 3 sides? Area, volume, or the Pythagorean theorem? It would be volume. And then question 3, can volume be used for a flat rug? No. Now you're going to try it on your own. I want everybody to try their best on the exit ticket, and then after about 5 minutes, we will discuss the answers with your peers. After we discuss with our peers, I'll give you 3 minutes to turn it in, and we will review the answer. So we start with our rectangle, and side A would be 3 meters, and side B would be 4 meters. And we put the diagonal line through it, and we use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we would do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So that would be 9 plus 16, and that would be 25. But this is also c squared, so we would have to find the square root, which would equal 5. Great job in class today. You are all now masters at finding the perfect box for anything you may need, using the Pythagorean theorem, volume, and area. Now everybody, have a great day.